is unable to attend, so we'll get started right away. Item number 1 is approval of the reports from the September 13th and 23rd, 2021 Plan Commission meeting. What are the committee's wishes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote on that. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, item number 2, Plan 21-0915, Kyle Benoff, Lingle Design Group, request for a site plan review to renovate 1821 8th Street South, parcel ID 3411790, and perform other site improvements. Mr. Kearns.
Thank you, and I apologize, I don't have much of a voice, so I may be rather quick on some of these. Ultimately, we've got an existing building. It's the former Hardee's building on 8th Street, and the applicant is looking to renovate the building, which involves partial demolition of part of the building as well as the drive-through canopy and some architectural upgrades to the exterior of the building. And that's about it. They're not necessarily changing the parking lot, but they may add some landscaping as shown on the attached plans. We feel as though, majority of the conditions are met. There are a few uniquenesses that do come into play, one of which is that the majority of the lot is shared with adjacent lots, and I'm not exactly sure if there are shared access agreements in place, but we would recommend that as a condition of approval, that the applicant does pursue the shared access agreements with the neighboring lots, considering that there are driveways that do access the site from the north, south, and east on neighboring lots. Other than that, the other conditions placed upon them or recommended are pretty standard, that they don't exceed the impervious surface ratio, that the lighting from the development does not exceed 0.2 foot candles at the commercial property line, and that all applicable permits be obtained, and then finally that if there are any minor changes, that staff would have the ability to approve those minor changes.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. Any questions, concerns, comments by council? Committee, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Please, second.
Yep, please. Hearing none, we'll go to vote. All in favor, respond with aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, item number 3, Plan 21-0966, Wisconsin Rapids Public School District, public hearing and action on a request for a conditional use permit amendment to construct an addition on Howe Elementary School at 221 8th Street North, parcel ID 3407777. Mr. Kearns?
Again, I'll try to be brief here, and I know the school superintendent here as well, who can provide probably a little bit more information than I can, but initially the first request, again, is for Howe Elementary. They're looking to add an addition on the east side of the school, primarily to secure the facility and add some necessary offices and administrative area for the school. From a zoning is met, the setbacks are met. It is fairly close to the neighboring street. However, again, the setbacks are met. Architecturally, I think it'll blend well into the existing building, and I think it is appropriate for the site. So we would recommend approval with a few conditions. Those conditions have been outlined in the staff report, so I won't read through them like the previous item. But again, we would recommend approval and feel it is appropriate.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. Okay, we'll take this to public hearing. We'll open up for public hearing. I will ask 3 times, are there any to speak against the plan? Let's get here. Plan 21-0966. Wisconsin Rapids Public School District on Howe Elementary School at 221 8th Street North. Is there anyone that wants to speak against Plan 21-0966, Howell Elementary? Is there anyone that wants to speak against Plan 21-099, Howell Elementary? Hearing none, we'll ask to see if there's anybody that wants to speak in favor of Plan 21-0966, Howell Elementary. Sure. Mr. Bourne.
Thank you so much. So Craig Broren, Superintendent, Wisconsin Rapids Public Schools. This request and the two following it, so I don't have to waste your time coming up here again, are very similar. They're part and parcel of our $34 million bond issue referendum that was passed by voters last spring. And on several of our buildings, three of which are in the city limits, we need to do an addition to modify the entrances to make secured entrances. So that's frankly almost the entirety of what you're seeing here. And then because we have that capability, then clearly we're going to do some additional updates in terms of administrative offices and that sort of thing. The point is making the entrances contiguous with the office, so the only area that individuals visiting the building would have access to is into one doorway and then access to the office and the office only. They will still look like normal schools. We're not running prisons. We're not making modifications that would make them not desirable buildings to either look at or be in. So think about things like the bulletproof materials on the glass and so forth, making them secure, but still making them very functional and school-like. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. We'll ask again, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor? And last but not least, is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0966, Howe Elementary? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at this time. Committee, what are your wishes here? Any questions, comments, discussion?
Mr. Chair, I would move for approval with the list of staff recommendations that have been presented.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion by Susan. Where was the second?
Who is that seconded?
Goodrow.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I will say this, I know there is an item on the Public Works agenda to prohibit parking on Oak Street on the south side of Howe. My concern would be, I guess, addressing the logistics of getting students in and out if construction is taking place on the east side of the building and parking is limited on the south side of the building. Obviously, it's an issue we'll address with Public Works as well, so it's not approved or disapproved, but just putting it out there. So, any other discussion? Okay, we'll go to vote. All in favor, respond with aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Okay, item number 4, Plan 21-0967, Wisconsin Rapids Public School District, public hearing and action on a request for a conditional use permit amendment to construct an addition on Meade Elementary School at 241 17th Ave South, parcel ID 3402835. Mr. Kearns?
Very similar addition here. I think the difference here is this is actually, I think, also to expand the cafeteria, but again, add some office space and some improved security for the school. Again, we feel as though it's fitting from an architectural standpoint. I think actually it'll be a very nice addition to this side of the facade, which is somewhat monotonous. So certainly very fitting for the school, and we would again recommend approval with very similar conditions as the last item.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. With that, we'll open up the public hearing for Plan 21-0967, request for conditional use permit amendment to construct an addition on Meade Elementary School at 241 17th Ave South, parcel ID 3402835. Is there anyone that would like to speak against Plan 21-0967? Is there anyone that would like to speak against Plan 21-0967? And lastly, is there anyone that would like to speak against Plan 21-0967? Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0967? Anyone that would like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0967? And lastly, anyone that would like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0967? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Committee, what are your wishes?
I'll make a motion to
Make a
approve.
motion to approve as staff recommendations were
I
made
think
in
Davin
the
beat you to
report.
it. Okay, Davin will retract in second. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll take it to vote. All in favor, respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, item number 5, Plan 21-0968, Wisconsin Rapids Public School District, public hearing and action on a request for a conditional use permit amendment to construct an addition on Washington Elementary School at 2911 Washington Street, parcel ID 3410239. Mr. Kearns.
Out of all of them, I think this one is the one that probably looks the most discreet, given it's kind of looked at as infill and is nestled in between two existing buildings essentially. And again, we think it blends well, it meets the applicable requirements, and we would recommend approval with similar conditions outlined on page 1 of the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Kearns. Okay, we will now open up the public hearing at this time for Plan 21-0968. Public hearing and action on a request for a conditional use permit amendment to construct an addition on Washington Elementary School at 2911 Washington Street, parcel ID 3410239. Is there anyone that would like to speak against Plan 21-0968? Is there anyone that would like to speak against Plan 21-0968? And lastly, is there anyone that would like to speak against Plan 21-0968? Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0968? Would anyone like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0968? And would anyone like to speak in favor of Plan 21-0968? Hearing none, we will now close the public hearing. Committee, what are your wishes?
I just had a question, maybe.
First of all, go ahead with the question.
I know that there was talk about parking, but I don't know if Greg or Ed would. When are these proposed to be constructed? When do you plan to do most of these? Okay. And then through the summer, basically, until ready to go for school year? Okay. Sounds good.
Any other questions, comments by committee?
I'd just like to thank the superintendent for attending and taking the time to answer any of the commission's questions, and I'll make a motion to approve this.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to vote. All in favor, please respond with aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Item number 6 is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion fell. Is there a second? Second down. Okay, motion is second. All in favor, respond with aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.